Hello, knife lovers. Welcome to Knife Delights. Well, today I'm going to do or attempt to make a video here in response to RJ's open tag, What Knives Have You Bought Because of YouTube? And I just want to start out by saying, RJ, you really made my head hurt on this one. This is kind of difficult to put together, trying to figure out what knives to discuss, because there have been so many people and so many videos out there that have influenced my knife buying, and so I'm going to just try to attempt to go through a bunch of them. I probably could have just gotten my whole collection out and taken a picture of it and said all of these. But let's get started specifically. So here's a couple of knives that I've recently talked about in other videos. Of course, this is the buck canoe with the jig bone. And again, this was directly because of Thrifty Kniffy. He did a video on one, and I said, gee, that's kind of a nice knife. And he emailed me and said, hey, they're still available, etc., etc. And so I ended up getting one, and I absolutely love it. This was featured in my 3 knives I would replace if I lost them. I like this knife that much. Another knife that I recently purchased and did a review on. This is the Bear & Son Small Hunter with the stag handle. Beautiful little knife. Again, this is because a viewer made a comment that, you know, since you like small fixed blade knives, maybe you ought to check this out. And I said, yep, I sure will. And then later on, I think that same day or the next day, the viewer sent me another message saying, hey, they're on a flash sale at SMKW, so I immediately went out and purchased it. So there's a couple knives that are, you know, as a direct result of viewers and of other reviewers. So I've been watching knife videos now for probably 5 or 6 years, and like I said, I've viewed a lot of them. And I think the importance of the YouTube videos and our knife community being online is it just opens up your eyes or opens up your world to different kinds of knives, whether it be different patterns, different handle materials, different makers. I probably would have I never did give a second thought to buying a neck knife. So I got a couple neck knives here, I've got more of them, but you know, there was a craze here just a few years ago with the minimalist. And I was in a big box store one day and happened to see this there and thought, yeah, why not? And I remember watching a couple videos on the Spew. SPEW. I think it's special pocket everyday Warncliffe or something like that. I don't remember. But I didn't have a Warncliffe blade, and I just thought this was a dandy looking little knife. So there's another one that, you know, either directly or indirectly I purchased because of YouTube. So moving along, here's a couple old-timer pocket knives. I got in antique stores, the made in the USA versions. I probably wouldn't buy these or look for new ones if I hadn't been influenced by all these old-timer fans there on the internet. I've really come to appreciate them. These little Stockmans. So, well, that's not a Stockman, but the other one was a small Stockman. So again, influenced by YouTube. Here's another pattern, or a couple of patterns that I'm now on the lookout for in the antique shops because I've listened to people like Tobias Gibson talk about the toothpick and the fish knife. And of course, the fish knife is just a modified toothpick, basically. But, you know, they're beautiful knives. Now, I didn't go out and purchase this particular knife because this model or this handle material or whatever was reviewed, but my interest was piqued just because of the discussion and watching the different videos, understanding the different knives, what their purpose was, all the different makers. So now I have a lot of fun when I'm out and about in antique shops looking for a toothpick or a fish knife. And moving along, as most of you know, if you've followed my channel, you know that I really love the Ictus shield on these case knives. And I have a total of about 13 of them now. So RJ did a video on copperheads, and I knew it was the Vault knife for 2021, and I knew that they had one with the fish on it, but I hadn't purchased it yet. So there's something that was influenced. I'm thinking, you know, I need to get a copperhead for one, and two, I need to continue on with my Ictus collection. So while I was getting this one, I noticed that there was this teardrop pattern, and I thought, I don't have a teardrop either, so I went ahead and purchased both of those. And I am very glad that I did. And I know Jersey Knife Guy loves the copperhead also. And speaking of Jersey, Pete did a video here a little while back, and he was lamenting that he had 5 of 6 or 6 of 7 of a certain knife, certain pattern, and he was looking for that last one to complete the collection, and he was kind of panicky. He couldn't find one and this and that. Well, that kind of influenced me, because with the Ictus now, the other 10 or 11 of them are with the smooth blue ice, and these of course are in the lavender here. But I did an internet search just to make sure, and lo and behold, in 2013 Case did this one with the white synthetic, and it's a mini copper lock. So I jumped all over it because I didn't have a mini copper lock, and I certainly didn't have one with the Ictus there. So now I have a total of 13 Ictus knives, and I keep saying this every time I do the video on an Ictus, but I think right now I do have one Ictus knife in every pattern that they've made. And I was happy to see their 2022 knife, Vault knife, is going to come out with an Ictus on it. So they're not available yet, but as soon as they're available, you can bet I'll be ordering one. Okay, now we can move along to Electrician's Knives. I had purchased 1 or 2 from an antique store and kind of found them to be fascinating knives, a fascinating pattern. And I watched a lot of videos on Electrician's Knives, and it really got my interest, so now I have several. Here's just a couple of them. Here's a more modern take. Here's an Imperial, and it's got the plastic handles. But then I was able to find one from a company called Holub, and it was Holub Electric out of Sycamore, Illinois. And it's kind of unique because it has a hawkbill blade to it, rather than just the typical spear point. So YouTube influenced me, learning the history of it was the TL-29 military knife is what it was originally designated. And before I go on and on and on too much, I guess I'll finish up with this knife. This is one of my latest knives. It's an old hickory, and it's a Kephart design. And I didn't know what all the fuss was about with a Kephart blade, but it has a long, rich history, and I plan on doing a review on this knife. But again, my interest was piqued just watching others talk about the Kephart knife. So there's a lot of knives in here. Some of them you've seen before. Some of them I still want to do a review on. But I just thought I'd answer this open tag for RJ. Thanks a lot, RJ, for putting this open tag out. It's fun. Again, you really made me think hard. Now, I want to thank all of my new subscribers. I hope you enjoy this channel. And for anyone out there that's watching, if there's a certain review that you would like to see done, why please leave a comment. Leave it in the comments and let me know. Please like, share, and subscribe. Pass the word along. Share my videos if you would. And until next time, just have a delightful time viewing these videos and watching the other open tag responses.